Today we're going to learn how to use the autoclave. Autoclave is used for sterilizing materials. You can use autoclave to sterilize your tools or any liquids, anything you're using that you might want to make sure is germ-free or virus-free. You can use autoclave. Okay. So we do have instructions for how to use the autoclave here, but I will go through them step by step with you now on this video. So first we're going to start off with making sure the autoclave water outlet is off. So you just turn that to the right clockwise, off. Now we're going to fill up the water tank of the autoclave. And we only use distilled water. If we're out of distilled water, you can grab some more from any store, grocery store, but make sure you use distilled water. Using any other kind of water will definitely clog up the system. So we're going to use 600 mils of distilled water. We have a beaker here. 100 mils. And then we're just going to pour it into the autoclave. So pour it back here. There's a hole behind in the autoclave that will fill up with water. And then we're going to grab our material that needs to be autoclave. So right now I just have an empty glass. I'm going to autoclave water. You can autoclave anything you want to. You can autoclave tools, other liquids like a media. I'm just going to use water here. And if you're using any liquid, let's say if you want to use a bottle like this, the main thing that you want to make sure you do is to make sure the bottle lid is loose. You never want to have a completely sealed system because that will explode. The autoclave will pressurize, and it will cause pressure in the bottle, and the bottle will explode. So you don't want that situation on your hands. I'm going to grab some foil, just kept over here. And I'm going to place some foil on my beaker of water. And the reason why I'm using foil is because essentially when you autoclave your liquid or anything you're using, especially if it's a beaker of media or water, if you take it out of the autoclave after it's done being sterilized and there's no lid on it or a piece of foil on it, germs will fall into it. So you want to have some type of lid on it so that when you take it out of the autoclave, it stays sterilized. You can also use the autoclave to kill anything that, if you want to dispose of it, like let's say you had something that was growing within a media, or you had a plate of bacteria, you can use the autoclave to kill everything off of that, and then you can throw it away. Another thing to remember is that you want to use autoclave tape. Autoclave tape essentially has this special chemical on it that will react and turn black when it's heated up to a certain temperature. So this is just basically a positive control to make sure that your sterilization worked. So I'm just going to put the autoclave tape on to the lid of my beaker here. I'm going to place a tray inside here. My beaker in as well. And now I'm going to close the autoclave door. There's a latch on this side here. And we're just going to make sure that's closed like that. And then we're going to turn the knob clockwise to close it. The next step is to set our timer to what we want for autoclaving. Usually anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes is enough for autoclaving most materials. So we're going to do 25 minutes here. Great. And then you can set a temperature control. We have a temperature control already set here. This is about 121 degrees Celsius. That's going to be enough for most of the things. Like that's above boiling, so that'll be enough for most sterilization. So if you need to go higher than that, you definitely can, but 121 is going to be enough for most things. All right, now we're going to set the exhaust valve, which is this valve back here. That's called air escape valve. We're going to open it. Okay. And then we're going to turn on the autoclave. All right, so the autoclave is going to start heating up, so you don't want to touch it at this point. Anything that you have to, if you have to touch any component of the metal at this point, you want to make sure you have on these thick heat-proof gloves. So we're going to wait a couple minutes while the autoclave is heating up, and you'll start seeing water kind of spurting out of this air escape valve. And then we'll turn off, we'll use our gloves and we'll close that valve and autoclave will begin. Okay, I have on my gloves. So you can see that the water is kind of spurting out here now. So I'm going to just close the valve. Okay. And then we should start seeing the pressure and the temperature gauge start coming up. Okay, so the pressure gauge is moving up, and also this is a temperature one as well. So you'll see it'll eventually start reaching 121. And then when it reaches to the correct temperature, you'll start seeing the timer count down. So we'll wait for 20 minutes. So our autoclaving is done. Timer is going off. So to begin with, we're going to just turn off the autoclave. And then we will open up the air escape valve with our gloves on because it's going to be really hot. And you'll have a lot of steam building up. And we'll keep it open until the pressure falls to zero. I guess it has zero, but we'll keep it open until it stops steaming. Okay. And now we're going to open the water outlet. We just turn counterclockwise. Okay, and now we'll open the autoclave, and we have our gloves on still because it still will be hot. We open it by turning counterclockwise. Okay. So it's very hot right now. You can let it cool off before you reach in and grab it, about like 20 minutes or so to let it cool off. If you needed to reach in to grab it, always have on gloves. So we have a tool here that will help pick up the tray when it's really hot. Okay, and we can place it on the table. And we'll let it cool off. You can see here that the black autoclave tape turned black, meaning that our sterilization worked and it came up to enough temperature. So now we're ready to use it. If you take out a tray when it's still hot, make sure you put it in a place where it won't burn someone because people can't tell that it's hot. So monitor it, or you can leave it in the autoclave so that it can cool down before you bring it out. Another thing to note is that this container will need to be emptied out when it cools down. Obviously, don't work with it right now when it just came out of when we just finished autoclaving, but give it a 20 minutes or so, and then you can take it off and dump the water into the sink. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to a facilitator, look at our instructions that will be near the autoclave, or watch the video again.